This is tomorrow's transfers today, and we actually do have some movement in one of the transfers today, and that is the Morata one. So Morata and his agent was at the Real Madrid stadium today conducting negotiations with Real Madrid. Now this is a strange one to me, because if Morata needed to be conducting any sort of negotiations with Real Madrid, that says to me that that's his side of the negotiation. A couple of the outlets are reporting it as him trying to see it through. The Star are talking, they're the ones that have come up with the 72 hours thing. The Telegraph's a little bit more relaxed, and they're saying he's took a short break to try and make, from his honeymoon, to try and make this deal go through. Now, I've got to admit I'm a little bit confused about this transfer, because to me, if Morata needs to be going and making this thing happen, that suggests that either United haven't got to the negotiating table yet, or the United side of it is done and there's some other sort of issue. I don't understand why it relies on him to be talking to Real Madrid at this stage. I don't understand that, because for me, if he's agreed terms with Manchester United, sorted. Now it's just up for Manchester United to agree terms with the player. So I don't quite understand what it is that they've been going to talk to Madrid about. Maybe that'll come out in the wash. So, as I said, the Star are reporting 72 hours, and they're quoting IB Times, who don't actually say 72 hours. Everyone just sort of expecting that it's going to happen. I've said on Transfer Review now for 2 weeks that I thought something would have happened by the end of that week. That's rolled on. That's rolled on. I mean, I might as well say it again today because it's Monday, isn't it? I expect something to have happened by the end of the week. I've got no information on that. That's just my gut feeling, trying to assess everything that's going on with the transfers. I don't think we need to be panicking about this one. The players aren't due back in until Sunday. Morata might be given an extended break if he's got to move house and all that, because that's something that people forget about with the transfers, and that is one of the benefits of getting the transfers done nice and early. That house moves, hotel stays, and all that sort of stuff can be sorted out and finalised, because it's a massive upheaval for a player when he moves country and all the rest of that sort of stuff. So that is the benefit of getting them done early, but it's still only the first week in July. There is nothing to be panicking about yet. Although there was a report from what's essentially Mourinho's mouthpiece in Duncan Castles talking about how Mourinho has become frustrated with Ed Woodward's failure to get things done by this stage of the window. Now, up until reading that, and especially when it comes from Castles, I think that's pretty well sourced. I think basically he gets word, if not directly from Mourinho, at least from a source close to Mourinho. So I think that there's probably an element of truth that Mourinho has seen his arse a little bit with the lack of movement from Manchester United. But that can be for many reasons. There can be one transfer that's holding up 19 transfers across Europe. Now, if you look at what Everton are doing at the moment, Everton are doing what Juventus did last summer, where Juventus was spending that Pogba money going, no, we're just investing in the squad. Pogba's going nowhere. I think Everton are spending that Lukaku money. So maybe the Lukaku deal needs to happen before anybody else can move, or any of the other big movers around Europe really start to happen. Chelsea look like they're about to land Bakayoko. That could lead to Matic coming to Manchester United. That's not what we're talking about today, but it's just that sort of chain reaction can really spark off what's going on for the rest of the transfer window. We saw Juventus basically get all of their business done prior to selling Paul Pogba to us last season. So there could be an element of teams looking to maybe get good deals on the back of the promise of some transfer cash. Doesn't really help us, but sometimes the selling club is in the driving seat. It could be some clubs are looking to try and recruit while clubs don't know that they've got a big bucket of cash to spend, because that weakens their position, and maybe United get a better deal for sitting quiet and being stum about it. It's frustrating, but it's not any reason to panic at the moment, I don't think. The next one that we are going to talk about is Sport. The Sport is one of the Spanish papers, and they're saying that Barcelona have inquired about the price of Ander Herrera. This one is not going away, and this is ultra frustrating for me, because I think Ander Herrera is a massively key part of Manchester United. And this one does worry me, because I do think there's an element and there's a chance that Ander Herrera, like any player that you buy from Spain, at some point he's going to want to go back. And as much as he loves the club, he's got a passion for the club and everything, can he resist the pull of Barcelona if they come in with a serious bid? Now, what they're saying in the Sport at the moment is that this is a secondary plan B for them, because they want Verratti as their first choice, and Herrera is their second choice. I would hope Manchester United could resist a bid from Barcelona, but I don't know that Manchester United could resist a bid from Barcelona. So it does worry me if Ander Herrera could go, because that significantly weakens Manchester United's midfield. Him and Pogba were fantastic last season. We're looking to add another person of that sort of quality to our midfield this season, so we can improve, develop, and move on from this. We don't need to be selling our best players. That's what Arsenal do. So, the final one that we are going to talk about before I get to you guys in the comments is Manchester United today announced that there was some academy scholars being moved up. There's been 10 players moved up from the under-16s, or players that we've signed. These ones were the ones that the club put out, but we have signed 5 players. And these 5 are the ones that have caught the attention a little bit. And actually, some of them that wouldn't even cause a ripple, or shouldn't even cause a ripple in the national media, have been causing a ripple in the national media because they've got jack shit all else to talk about. Dijon Bernard from Chelsea. He's been, he was released from Chelsea around about Christmas. I think he's been at Manchester United quite a while now. Looks like he's going to be part of next season's under-18s side. He's a centre-half. Interesting to see what happens with him. We've signed Ethan Galbraith as well. That's the Northern Ireland under-17 captain. He's a central midfielder. I don't know if he's an attacking central midfielder, or if he's a defensive-minded central midfielder, or if he's a box-to-box central midfielder, because I haven't watched him. He did feature in a couple of trial games towards the back end of last year, but I don't remember seeing him, so I don't really have much to say about him. We've signed a guy called Laji Ramanazi. I'm probably going to screw that one up. Who's a left winger. He's listed as a striker, but this is one that I do know a little bit about. I've seen some clips of him, and I've spoken to some of the under-16s that have graduated into this year's under-18s, and they say he's absolutely class. He's got a real Ronaldinho-style flip-flap, which he likes to try and beat players with. And the other one that we've signed is Puigmal from Espanyol. And again, I'm not really sure. He wears the number 8. He looks like he could be a bit of a box-to-box, but I'm not sure if maybe he'll be a number 6. And aside that one, the big one that caused a lot of attention when we signed him was Aliou Traoré, 16-year-old French midfielder, very Paul Pogba-like. So next season's under-18s, when you look at the lads that was left over from last season's under-18s, which would be Chong and Burkhardt, O'Connor, Gomez, we've added some real stellar quality to them, as well as some of the lads that have been left over from last year's under-18s. I think the likes of Gomez, possibly O'Connor, are going to get moved up into the under-23s. But as it stands at the moment, they're all currently eligible for the under-18s for next season. And I hope they're used in the under-18s Cup. And I hope that they're used in the under-19s UEFA Youth League, which is like the under-19s version of the Champions League. I'd really like United to have a go at that. Not sure who's going to manage it. Possibly Nicky, but be interesting to find out who does. So let's go to the comments and let's see what you guys are saying. Someone talking about Timo Werner. Yeah, me and Dave saw Timo Werner. He was a standout player for me when we went to Leipzig last season. I thought he was absolutely fantastic. And he was easily man of the match for me, actually. I thought he was brilliant. So he was definitely someone I would like to see in the Premier League and to see what he could do. Whether or not he's going to be on the move, I don't know. It seems like Naby Keita is going to be the one that is on the move. Talking about 70 million for him for Liverpool, after they had the cheek to try and take the mick out of us for signing Paul Pogba. And then you've also got the cheek of Klopp saying that we're ruining football by spending that sort of money. Listen, mate, we spent that on Paul Pogba, who's a FIFA Pro 11, just a shade under Ballon d'Or level, and now you're spending it on Naby Keita. Levels, mate. There's levels to this game. CDS in Italy said today, Fabinho is closer to United. Monaco rejected the PSG bid. I haven't seen that one actually today, so that's one that I need to look up. Maybe we can have a look at that one tomorrow a little bit and find out what the crack is. There's something definitely dragging on with Fabinho and United, and it seems like there's a couple of players that are in the mix. I guess we'll have to find out as it comes along what's happening with that one. Herrera would be 40 million, is someone saying. Are you serious? Even though it's early, do I think Woodward should pull his finger out? If it's true that Mourinho's coming out and saying that he's frustrated with the lack of activity, then yes, because then that means that Mourinho had an expectation to have maybe 2 more players in, maybe 1 more player in, maybe all of them completed by now. If he gave him the lists in April, they would have started work on those, and then as soon as we knew if he was in the Champions League or the Europa League, he can then start to finalise those deals up in an ideal situation. If he's not doing that, then yeah, I guess you have to go with the manager's side. You're not doing your job. Listen, my job is to manage the team and to identify and rubber stamp some targets that the scout department comes up with. Your job is to get the transfers done. And now if Woodward's not getting the transfers done, then of course he should be pulled out for it. Just the same way that Mourinho, if he hadn't have met the targets for last season, would have been pulled out for it. Woodward needs to be pulled out for it as well and held accountable for what he's doing. But now's not the time. Now you just need to let him get on with the job at hand and not take away from that, because it's a big job. And it's a big job with a limited time window. I've seen someone saying that he was going watching the rugby in New Zealand. That's not really acceptable, is it? You can holiday pretty much every other time in the window as the CEO of Manchester United, but the time for you to go and do the work is in the transfer window. Herrera leaving would be a wounder. I'm feeling with you on that. JT in the Championship is funny as fuck, says Paul. I can't wait, mate, for when John Terry gets dropped. When he realises he's not actually that good, his legs have gone, and he doesn't have Kante in front of him mopping up after him. So I reckon it's going to be very interesting to find out how he copes with the Championship, where it's a little bit of a rough and ready pace, you know what I mean? Belotti would be better, says Connor. I'm not really sure on that one. The surprise signing, again, please show me the evidence where he said the surprise signing, because I've not really seen it. Is Sessegnon good, says Mariko. Yes, Sessegnon is a good player. Wouldn't have minded seeing him come on, but whatever. Hello from Jamaica. Hello. What's the news on Nainggolan? No news as it stands at the moment. Not seen anything. Morata for 60 million, better buy than Lukaku, says Ronak. Lukaku has experience in the Premier League, but Jose won't buy him. If you listen to what Jamie Jackson said, was he thought that Mourinho was obsessed with Lukaku, so it sounds like he might buy him. You know what I mean? Herrera will be worth 70 to 110 million, says Mohammed. Thoughts on the new kit? It's fine. I think you've got to really wait until the kit's had something won in it before you can really take to it, I think. Jokep says, I would love Naby Keita at United. It would be a baller. He's a little bit more attacking than what we really need. Someone in the comments says they love Adam, not me. Well, unlucky. Belotti would be better. He's the next Suarez. I disagree, mate. I don't think he's got the pedigree. I think he's had one good season, and I think you really need to be proving that over a bit of a longer period of time. Someone saying Aubameyang is the way forward. He'd be way cheaper. Do you know what? Maybe. Here's a good one. Warren in the comments says, how true are the articles saying Hernandez has a £30 million buyout clause? Definitely in today's market. It's a bargain for a quality squad player, not our main striker, but a squad player. I think unless I've seen his contract, and I haven't, and anyone who's telling you that he has probably lying to you, I can only go off what the papers are saying, and if he has got a £13 million clause, I absolutely agree that he's an absolute bargain for a player in this market. So, it's just one of those, is it? Does he want to come back to Manchester? Does he want to come and sit on the bench, or does he want to be somewhere where he's going to be playing 38 games a season? I suspect, considering the reason that he left Old Trafford in the first place to go and get first team football, he's not going to come back to sit on a bench when that was the reason that he left in the first place. So I think we might just have to let that one slide by this time, I think. Talisca, there's nothing in Talisca. Chill. And his agents denied it as well. Pogba will be PFA Player of the Year, says Nathan. So not a bad early shout, mate. And Herrera's MUFC should definitely not be sold, would be disastrous. Do I think the Griezmann stub has thrown a spanner into Woodward's plans and the reason behind the lack of transfer activity? Adam, maybe, mate. That might not be a bad way, because, yeah, it did seem like Griezmann was done very early in the year, and then this Court of Arbitration for Sport thing just completely shut everything down real fast. United even briefed that they was cooling their interest in him. Now, the cooling of the interest coincided with the announcement coming out, so he'd obviously worded them up, look, if this looks like it's going bad, I'm not going. So United had to think fast on their feet. But I find it worrying that we didn't have a plan B lined up, unless we've still been talking to the player and we have lined him up as the first choice, but for January or for next summer, which is kind of crazy to do with a player of his age, because it's not a 20-year-old, this isn't a 21-year-old, this is a player in his peak of his prime at the moment, so I don't really think it's the most prudent thing to do. But if there's no other options available, maybe waiting 12 months to get Griezmann isn't the worst thing in the world. I also saw something that I didn't really have a chance to read it before this came on, so I can't really say. But it said that Madrid are going to look to offload Bale to raise some funds to pay for Mbappe. Again, I've not looked into that, so I can't really comment on whether I think that's true or not. I would love Bale. People say he's injury prone. Not having that. I think he'd be happy days. I heard we signed a 16-year-old striker from Anderlecht, says Khalid. He's not a striker. This is the guy that I was just talking about. This is Largi Ramanazi, and he's a left winger, and he looks very, very good from what I've seen. And the players that I've been talking to said he's sick. So the under-18s are off on a tour to Austria to do their pre-season training this week. So I'd be interested to see how he does on there. I mean, we're shaping up as a pretty strong team. Someone's got the chance to make a run at that left wing position or even right wing position while Chong is out. Out injured before he comes back, because I think once he comes back, he is the first choice. Do I rate Fosu Mensah would do a job in midfield this season? Yes, but I don't think he's going to get that opportunity, unfortunately. Lukaku's first touch is shite, says Brad Boblett. Well, that's why you were sacked, mate, because you don't know what you're looking at. We need a left winger, says Salah. Possibly. Herrera is the heart of United, not for sale, says Benjamin. Absolutely, mate. Better left back, says James. I think someone's going to be given the opportunity to see what can happen, and then we'll figure out from there. I think someone's going to get the opportunity to take that on tour. Any news on players leaving United? I saw some stuff yesterday talking about Phil Jones, that Phil Jones isn't looking at being moved on, which I find quite surprising. But there has been talk of Smalling being moved on, and I'm pretty certain that you won't have both of those at the club at the start of the season. So I think someone's going to get moved on. Someone saying Neymar to United, 174 million. Thoughts? Bollocks. How about that? Someone here saying Fabinho is quality, Matic is crap. Now, what are you basing that on? Are you basing this on FIFA? Are you basing this on another video game? Matic is not crap. A lot of what Matic does excellent was taken away from him last year because Kante is in the side and arguably better at that really rough and ready style of game. But make no mistake, Matic is not crap. And anyone telling you Matic is crap does not know what they're talking about. And think about this. Jose Mourinho has managed him for a couple of seasons and now he's managed Manchester United for 12 months. If Jose Mourinho can identify the traits in Matic which he thinks is going to improve Manchester United, then that is not a gamble. Listen to what I'm saying. He is not gambling when he brings in a player that he already knows. If he's looking at the Manchester United squad and he's going, we need X, Y and Z, he can give us X, Y and Z, then it's less of a gamble than bringing in someone like Fabinho. Now, you might think Fabinho's a better player on the ball, but if Matic carries out the instructions that Jose Mourinho wants to a T, and he knows that he can trust him, then Matic is the better signing for Jose Mourinho. This is a team sport, remember, and it's about following the instructions. The reason why Manchester United made Ajax look absolutely dog-turd in that final is because Jose Mourinho prepared that side by watching them 8 times, and every player in that team performed their duties magnificently. That's why Fellaini's getting games, because he can do what Mourinho's asking him, and I really don't like it. I would prefer to see better footballing players than Fellaini, but Jose Mourinho likes him, and I think Matic, while not exciting, I would freely admit that if he is the guy that can do the job that Jose wants, then he is the signing that Manchester United need to get. He's not that mobile. Michael Carrick's not that mobile either. Next question. How long till Angel Gomez can be a consistent starter for United? 2 or 3 years, I think. Not a problem. 2 or 3 years, easily. With a lack of classic wingers on the market, is there any worthwhile alternatives to Perisic? There's nobody that stands out, I do agree. I do love a direct winger over the inverted ones, though. You're right, there just isn't many. They've gone out of fashion a little bit, haven't they? I wonder if they're going to be brought back at some point. We need to get a striker, says Yagoon. That I agree with, and if Rooney does get moved on, then we also need another striker or number 10. Maybe that's James Rodriguez. Maybe that's what Griezmann was going to be. Watch the latest on Schneider. I think he was seen in Chickerland on the old road. Herrera can free up Pogba in my eyes. Herrera can stay back and listen to instructions. No need for a defensive midfielder. I think you got... Yes, to an extent. Yes, to an extent. I think there's definitely something in that one. I think he likes what Herrera can do at the other end of the pitch. I mean, look what he did in Chelsea. He got an assist, he got a goal, and he kept Hazard completely out of that game. I think if you've got him alongside another defensive midfielder in those big games, you're going to be really difficult to break down, and I think that's what he's looking for. That's going to wrap us up for tonight. I think Adam's back with you tomorrow night, so make sure to keep it locked. Full Time Devils, 11 o'clock for tomorrow's transfers today. And that's going to be Wednesday's transfers on Tuesday, because that's tomorrow and the day after. But thank you for watching. Subscribe if you're new around here. Hit that notification button. for any time that we are going live. Again, thank you for tuning in. Me and Adam have done a podcast over on my channel, so if you want to check that out, it's an hour and 20 minutes of me and Adam waffling utter garbage, so go and check that out on my channel. Thank you for watching. We'll be back tomorrow. Laters.